Peace and welcome, everybody. This is the Six for Sixers podcast. I am the host, your brother Creek Creek. And on the Six for Sixers podcast, we talk about all things Sixers. And we usually try to do it in 6 points or less. We are not one of those hour-long blah, 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 blah podcasts. We get in and get out. And I just want to recap on the game tonight. The Sixers, in their home opener and season opener, took a loss to the Milwaukee Bucks 124-109. But I was encouraged. And I'm going to go over the points why I was encouraged. There was some good, there was some bad. Obviously, we were missing two of our biggest stars, Joel Embiid and Paul George. Right there, expectations had to be somewhat low on winning this game because the Bucks had pretty much their squad. They were down Chris Middleton, but they've been down Chris Middleton a lot lately. And they still have Damian Lillard. They still have Lopez. They still have Portis. And obviously, they still have former MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo. So they had pretty much their full team, and we were down Embiid, who obviously we know is our most valuable player, and Paul George, who is the newest addition to our team. Not the newest, but the newest max addition to our team. So it was going to be a hard fought game, and I think the one of the good points is that the Sixers really did fight hard. The score 109 to 124 does not indicate how competitive it was. It was a really competitive game. Even in the fourth quarter, I think the Sixers had cut it to like 13 or 11 points, and the Bucks just had too much firepower and really too much size. It kept running the score back up. So it was a very hard fought game by the Sixers. Very encouraging because when Embiid and Paul George do return, that is going to really yield a lot of success for us, I believe. I think that with those two on the floor, it just really opens things up for Tyrese Maxey and then allows other players like Caleb Martin, who did have a good game. I'll get to that. Just to open up the floor for a lot of other guys. Kelly Oubre. Sixers have a lot of weapons. And obviously, with all of these new guys playing together, there's going to be some chemistry things to work out over time. So overall, very encouraging game. Let's go through our 6 points for tonight. Point number one is about Andre Drummond. Andre Drummond is a certified monster in the paint. I love Andre Drummond's game because he has an old school type of game. He has that old school, like what I grew up on. There was a couple times where he popped out. He shot a 3-pointer and he shot one that was close to three. We really don't want I know Drummond has worked on that on the off season. I've seen a lot of videos of him hitting that three and developing it. But really, when he's in the paint, that's where he does most of his most powerful work. Rebounding tonight, he had 13 rebounds, and then he also additionally added 10 points. He really holds down that middle. The only problem is that there is nobody after him really because Nick Nurse had to go to a small lineup with Yabusele playing the 5, and that's really not going to work in the NBA in the long term. So, but I think that Drummond played well as a starter. That you can't ask much more than 10 and 13 from him. The good point is when Embiid does come back, you know that he's going to be able to give some quality rest to Embiid and really probably allow us to reduce Embiid's minutes, unlike what we had last season with Paul Reed. We just weren't in a position. Paul Reed just wasn't dominant enough and wasn't strong enough to hold down that middle. Andre Drummond gives us hope that he is going to be the man to be able to truly back up Joel Embiid. And if Joel Embiid on these days where Joel Embiid is saying already he's not going to play a back-to-back, or there's some load management days, we might even be able to snag some of those wins unlike last season where we really plummeted in the standings. So shout out to Andre Drummond. Great game by Drummond. Just don't shoot any more threes, Drummond. Just stay in the paint. Number two, defensively, the Sixers, they were really scrappy. I wasn't too upset with the defensive effort overall, but Damian Lillard did go off for 30 points. And I thought that was instrumental down the stretch, especially in the second half, to just making the Bucks that much harder to stop. Damian Lillard obviously is an A-list player, one of the elite players in the NBA. You're just not going to contain him. And he has Giannis Antetokounmpo also, so you're really looking to contain one of the two. I felt like they did for Giannis for the most part, and this Lillard went wild. So you're not gonna be able to hold both of them down, and that's something you just have to accept. But I did also feel that with the absence of Embiid, the Sixers were forced to play a little bit smaller than they would have with Embiid. The defensive presence in the paint just wasn't there, especially when Drummond got in foul trouble and Yabusele was there. He's just not big enough to stop Lopez and Bobby Portis and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Just too much size, and it was obvious. So the Sixers defensively just couldn't stop the Bucks, and they couldn't stop the Surges. Down the stretch, the closest they could get was like double digits, low double digits, 10-13, and then really the fourth quarter hovered more around a 15-point lead for most of the fourth quarter. So that was just defensively, but again, on the positive end, Sixers, they really scrapped and scraped. They hustled, they dove for a lot of loose balls. So I'm really not upset at that, especially with Paul George and Embiid out. Number three, Tyrese Maxey. And I say Tyrese Maxey, he did not have a horrific game. He scored 25 points. But when your two top players are out, you do look for Maxey to really up his level. Last season when Embiid was out, we were looking for Maxey to just do some spectacular numbers. And Maxey and Harris, not to go back to Harris, got to have some PTSD out there, but who actually I think won, by the way, tonight against the Indiana Pacers. But that's a whole nother podcast. We no longer will discuss Tobias Harris with this podcast, other than to reflect on last season, in which we were looking for Maxey to be that A-list number one guy, and he just was not there. I don't think Maxey is there to be a number one. I think he's going to be the Robin to Batman right now, and I think with Embiid out, and then also with Embiid out, if Paul George is there, Paul George can be that A1 guy, and Maxey can be the Robin in that sense. But with both of them out, Maxey needs to have, in order for the Sixers to win, he needs to have one of those phenomenal shooting percentages, 40-point games, that type of thing. And it just wasn't there in that capacity tonight. Not a terrible game, but shooting percentage from 3-point, it was 2 for 9 from 3-point, not stellar, and just wasn't able to lead us in that sense. So I think that, again, it's going to be fine once two guys, Big Fella and George, come back. But tonight, Maxey needed to have one of those really, really thunderous breakout games, and it just didn't happen. So point number 4, overall shooting percentage from the team, goes back to last season too. I had made a comment last season that when the Sixers don't shoot really above 35% from the 3-point line, they're probably not going to win that game. And it reigned true tonight. The Sixers shot 25.8% from the 3-point line. Oubre 1 for 6 from 3. Yabusele 1 for 4 for 3. And again, I mentioned Tyrese Maxey 2 for 9 from 3. And anytime the shooting percentage from 3 is that low, it's going to be a tough game to win. And we also have Eric Gordon along with that group. And Eric Gordon was 0 for 2 from 3, and and they had a host of others who were not able to hit a three, but didn't shoot a lot of threes. So anytime the Sixers shoot that poorly from 3-point line, they're going to have a tough time. They need 3-point efficiency to win games. So look for them to improve on that 3-point shooting. Yabusele was really eye-opening to me. I didn't have a lot of experience watching him previously. I think he was with the Celtics. Didn't see a lot of him. Did look at some highlights of him. It looks solid. But he's been playing international ball for the past few years. And international ball is just a big difference than the NBA and the type of basketball that they play in the NBA. The physicality is different. And just the rules in general are different. In general, I guess the same, but there's some subtle differences. And I didn't know how long it would take Yabusele to adjust to the NBA game. And I thought he did a pretty good night. Other than that, all the 3.25% from three, he had a really solid night. He is going to be a real contributor. I don't like him at the 5. I just think he's too small to play the 5 in the NBA. But I think he's going to be solid playing the 4, even alongside Joel Embiid. Tonight, 10 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Very, very solid game. And he wasn't tentative at all. He got right in there, got right in the mix, and he's not afraid. So, Yabusele, I'm looking forward to seeing what you're going to do for this team. I think that he's a great addition. Morey did a great job picking him up right after the Olympics. And I know there were other teams interested. I think that's going to work out for us. So, great game by Yabusele. And then point number 6, we knew Caleb Martin was a dog. A straight up dog with the Miami Heat. I mean, he was put the dagger right in your throat. But he is going to be great for the Sixers. I thought he's just hard nosed, and he is that type of guy. Not only just a hard nose, like we've had hard nosed defenders like PJ Tucker, but then he didn't offer a whole lot offensively, and we've had guys who had the hard edge like Pat Beverly, but then it wasn't able to really put the dagger in him offensively. Caleb Martin, to me, is going to give you a little bit of both, offense and a lot of both, offensively and defensively. And he just has these intangibles that's just, he's unafraid of the moments. So far, he's had a lot of experience with the Heat going deeper into the playoffs. And that's a great pickup as well by Daryl Morey. Give you props. Tip my hat to you there, Morey. Caleb Martin is going to be huge for this team. And I think when we're really going to see Caleb Martin be the best is during the playoff time. I think we're going to just see a whole nother monster during playoff time. So I thought that was an encouraging point. That's my 6. And most of my 6 were positive. I just didn't think that the Sixers have it in them to beat a team like the Milwaukee Bucks without Paul George and without Joel Embiid. And that is what it is. But we have to take the good points and be encouraged by what they did tonight. They did great under those circumstances. So that's a 6 for 6. Unfortunately, we can't play the song because the song is only for when we get a victory. But I will say I do think we'll be playing the song a lot this season. And I look forward to what the Sixers are going to do. I look forward to what Nick Nurse is going to mold this team into. So we can clap our hands. We can't celebrate till we get that first win. But great game overall by the Sixers. Joel Embiid, get healthy, brother. Fast. Paul George, hope that knee, man, heals up quicker. I think they said that he is almost ready. I think there's a lot of pain there, but still some general soreness. So he needs a little bit more time. All right, I'm out. 6 for Sixers podcast. Your brother, Creek, your host. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, all the good things because we got the best content and we're going to be bringing it to you. We are going to be doing weekend wrap-ups, I think every Sunday with me, my brother Greg, and John Jervy. So look for that coming. And also make sure that you are on the Facebook page, the 6 for Sixers page for true 76er fans. All right, out to the next game. Peace.